Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and more specifically, the third video in my new seller series playlist. In the first video of this playlist, we talked about what to expect at the listing appointment and how to use that appointment as a time to interview different real estate agents. And in the second video of this playlist, we took a deep dive into all 11 pages and 21 paragraphs of the Texas Residential Real Estate Listing Agreement. Today, we're going to talk about important seller documents and disclosures that are required when the time comes for you to sell your home. You're going to learn why proper disclosure is important, where these documents go once they're filled out, when these documents should be delivered to the buyer, and what could happen if you fail to deliver certain documents to a buyer. If you're currently selling your home or plan to in the future, you'll want to stick around and find out why these seller documents are so important and how they can protect you in a real estate transaction. If we haven't met yet, I'm Stacey Russell, your Northwest Houston realtor, educating buyers, sellers, and investors on all things real estate. I hope that you get a ton of value from this video and from my seller series playlist. I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified anytime I release new content. In the listing agreement video, we touched on paragraph 19, which is titled Addenda and Other Documents. Addenda means in addition to. So these are documents and disclosures that are specific to a property that are added to a listing agreement. There are 15 specific addenda and a fill-in-the-blank option that are listed in the Residential Real Estate Listing Agreement. If you want to review these documents, then click on this video and go to 34 minutes and 40 seconds. Yes, it is a very long video, but there is a ton of information in there that you should know about, and going to 34 minutes and 40 seconds will help save you some time. Now, every property is different and may or may not need to include some or all of these as part of the listing agreement. Your listing agent will be able to tell you which documents and disclosures you're required to include with your listing. Depending on which documents are needed, the seller should disclose all known information on items located in or on the property, any defects or malfunctions, environmental conditions, items in need of repair, property conditions as it pertains to flooding and flood insurance, any previously filed insurance claims, obligations to pay assessments to an HOA, a property improvement district, municipal utility district, or statutory water district, and the list goes on. Ultimately, these documents and disclosures allow a seller the opportunity to be completely transparent and honest about all known property information and conditions. A buyer has every right to know the good, the bad, and the ugly about a property before spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase it. And unfortunately, there are sellers out there who fail to disclose known information to a buyer. Not only is this just wrong morally and ethically, but it's also wrong in the eyes of the law. Now, I'm not a real estate attorney, but I do know that non-disclosure is the #1 reason why sellers get sued. So don't be that person. Be diligent in disclosing all known information to a buyer so that both parties are happy and you don't get sued. So what happens with these seller documents once they've been filled out? In a perfect world, these documents will be uploaded to the MLS when the listing goes active, as well as printed out and placed in a binder at the property that's for sale. Having these documents uploaded to the MLS and easily accessible to the buyer and the buyer's agent lays a good foundation of trust and professionalism. It also helps the buyer or buyer's agent when the time comes for them to submit an offer. That's because documents on the MLS can be downloaded and sent to the buyer for review and signatures in order to submit a complete offer to the seller. However, we don't live in a perfect world, and I come across listings every day that don't have a single document attached to the listing on the MLS. Whether these documents are missing because the seller hasn't provided them to the listing agent yet, or because the listing agent has not uploaded them to the MLS, the point remains that the buyer and the buyer's agent don't have access to this information immediately. And this could potentially put you in a bind, because in the 1 to 4 family residential real estate contract, there are specific deadlines on when some of these documents should be provided to the buyer. Several of these documents must be delivered to the buyer before contract execution, meaning before the seller and the buyer both sign the contract. Others allow the seller to supply the necessary documents to the buyer within a certain number of days after contract execution. Failure to provide certain documents to a buyer before the deadlines in the contract could result in the buyer being able to terminate the contract at any point in time and get their earnest money back. Imagine that you've gone through all of the steps to prep your home for sale and list your home for sale. You've cleaned, decluttered, had professional pictures taken, left your home for showings and open houses, worked with your agent to negotiate a contract and find the best buyer for your home, allowed inspectors, surveyors, and appraisers onto your property, and now you're a day away from closing and you're ready to move into your new home when you get a call from your agent. You pick up the phone, excited to talk about the plan for closing the next day, when you hear your agent say, the buyers are terminating the contract and we aren't closing tomorrow. Unfortunately, this can and does happen to sellers. This is once again another reason why it is so important to interview different agents and be educated on the selling process. If you have questions about how to interview different agents, take a look at this video where you'll get a better understanding on what questions to ask in order to find the perfect real estate agent for you. I hope this video gave you a much better understanding of the importance of seller documents and disclosures in a real estate transaction. Please let me know what questions you have and if there are any of these addenda that you'd like me to go more in depth on. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.